Yeah, dude, Halo Infinite, even though it's like, almost 2 years old now, which is crazy to think about, that game was something else, man. That story still sticks with me, and it was the Halo game I always wanted. And I feel like every time I think about Halo Infinite, like just the campaign specifically, I feel like I get the best of both worlds from the Bungie era and the 343 era. It's like the one Halo game where I feel like I see both visions collide and come together.
Yep.
And like every time I think of the characters in Halo Infinite, I think of like the 343 side of things. But when I see the aesthetics and the gameplay loop, like the combat, and the deeper emotional story that feels more thorough than, say, Fives did, I think of Bungie. And, I mean, those crisscross too, but, like, it's just an amazingly well put together package, and it's mitigated by things outside of the game and, like, releasing the multiplayer early and, like, how toxic the community can be. But, like, that core game itself, like, that is a top 3, if not top 5, like, Halo game overall, I think.
This is the only 343 game that makes my top 50 list. Halo 4 and 5, great memories, but they're not on here. Halo Wars 2, great game, but it's not on here. But Halo Infinite, they really brought it for me. That's what I think. That's amongst many reasons why Josh and I have gotten fatigued with the Halo conversation. One of the prime reasons is just that the game comes out and we like it so much, and the industry at large just seems to hate it. Just hate the game, hate 343, talk about how much it sucks. I mean, even more prominent people in the community, YouTubers and stuff that were initially positive on the game, they make their content now to talk about how disappointing it is, or they'll even say that their opinions they had at launch aren't their opinions anymore. They've changed their mind that the campaign really wasn't that good and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know, it's just disheartening because it's like we spent so much time as a Halo-specific podcast invested in this game's development and launch, and it comes out, and even we have problems with it, for sure, like things it did wrong or whatnot. We hated that the multiplayer was released separately early and stuff like that, but it just ultimately was like, yeah, this is what we want for Halo going forward. We want more of this. We got away from the Halo and 4 and 5 stuff, and this Halo Infinite seemed like a really great direction. If the launch had been a little more steady, and 343 didn't lose like 30 or I don't know 3/4 of their staff, I could almost believe that this was a success. But the industry and the fans at large make it seem like it was a failure, and I just don't feel that way about Infinite. I love the game. But it's weird, right? Because like me and Josh love this game, but when we hear the word Infinite, we almost like an alarm goes off on our head, like I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that right now. I've talked about that enough,
Right.
Because we've been around the block with it so many times. It's what more can be said? And honestly, most of what's said is negative, and I'm just not interested anymore in that.
I think that's why I tend to lean toward the campaign side for this game too. I mean, I do genuinely, on its own merits, prefer it over the multiplayer. The multiplayer is great, but I do genuinely love like both of those. But I think the fan base over on the multiplayer or live service side was just so toxic, and like I don't even know in hindsight now if like as much times as you guys have heard me give 343 for like releasing the multiplayer early, I don't even know if I can really put that on them. Like, yeah, I don't think they should have done that, but like I think the reason I really take issue with it is because the community I knew was going to consume that because they were so hungry for Halo. They were going to consume that, and since that was the only part of Infinite they could play, it wasn't going to be divided. Their time wasn't going to be divided between both aspects, so they were going to hyperfixate on the multiplayer, consume all its stuff, and then there'll be the initial high of like, this is amazing, I love this, and then that will quickly turn to, where's the other content? When's the content coming? And they had to figure out so much stuff, and it was a learning process, and I think everyone's expectations just got so beyond what I think should have been expected of 343, given that it was their first live service title, and also just considering how every other live service game has always had growing pains. And it feels like it's finally getting better, but like I just got so turned off of that, but both of us did, and so like when I hear Infinite, yeah, it does come with negative connotations when I hear about it, but like I love that campaign. That campaign's freaking sweet, dude. Sitting there like grapple shotting onto a brute, smacking him across the face, and then suddenly turning around, popping a grunt in the head, whipping out a rocket launcher, and like just just the gameplay loop in that game is such a blast, dude. Oh yeah, man, I love it.
And I love this. I love the little story moments. You know, the pilot and his hologram of his wife and daughter, and then you have like other segments where you have like the pilot thinking he's not worth anything, and Chief talking to him, and Chief fighting the different enemies and trying to save the pilot, and talking with the weapon, and the weapon finding out about who she's based off of, and there's the Captain Keyes flashback. There's Dr.
Dude, the weapon
Halsey
is
flashback.
so hot, dude. Oh man,
the weapon's awesome.
Yeah, she's an awesome character. They did so well developing her, making her just like an independent, like so independent from Cortana. Even I mean, like I don't even see that talked about these days. But like I get Cortana vibes from her, but like she's enough. There's enough
Different.
there that she feels completely like distinctive, and I loved that, and I loved seeing Chief. You know, I always talked about before. It's like it's not the one you. It's almost like a relationship sense of like. There's the one you
Not the one you want, but
with.
the one you need.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that was so well done, dude. And yeah, Oscar Mayer in there all the characters were perfect. And dude, playing that part, I don't know the Spartan. Everyone else is gonna know this, but the Spartan you first find and he's dying.
Griffin, I think.
Yeah, and like they sync up the feedback, the vibrational feedback on the controller with his heartbeat. So like I didn't even realize it at first. Like I never experienced that in any game before. But like as his heart's beating, the controller's vibrating fast, and then it gets slower and slower and slower until it's like barely vibrating. And I'm like, I put two together, and I'm like, oh, I looked at my controller and I looked up on my screen and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh my gosh. Like it made me feel his death even more. You know, amazing.
That was a good scene.
Yeah, it's that whole game, dude. Oh man.
It's a
like
great.
When the Halo mood really hits me again, that'll be the one I go play. That'll be the first one I jump into.